Hey everybody, how's it going? So welcome back to Planet Coaster and of course Wilderview Mews. Now we are running out of coaster types because it is in fact another week and another coaster. But this time we get to celebrate the early days of B&M with this classic sit down coaster. Let's go. Oh yes, the classic B&M sit-down coaster. Graceful, intense and whippy, but no, none of that here please. We want something that could exist if Kumba, Kraken, Hairraiser, Wildfire, Superman, Dragon Khan and Led Zeppelin all had a bit of a crazy bump uglies night and somehow made a baby and produced, well, this. But hey, we're going to steal the colour scheme from Kumba to start with. Blue and orange for the win, right? So this is what we've got in the park. It's designed mainly to fit around the Woody, as the game stutters. It's designed to fit around the Woody. Would have been installed sometime in the mid to late 90s, just as B&M was starting to really, truly kick off. And they put it down by this lake because they wanted to make a feature of this lake. So we've got all of the boardwalk and path and stuff coming in here, splits off. We're going to come down to this way for a future development, and then it's going to come around the lake here for another future development. But this is what we're focusing on right now, guys. You're going to see so many bits of so many different B&Ms going on in this coaster. It's like a proper chimera or chimera, I don't know how you say it. It's a proper like hybrid of B&M coasters. It really is. So this is the station. We've got 8 cars on this one, pretty typical of B&M back in the day. And then it comes into the lift hill here, so 33 degrees, 9 mile an hour, again pretty typical. Some B&Ms are slower, some B&Ms are faster. It sort of sits nicely in the middle. I think I'm going to take some inspiration for the supports on this one from, I think it's Kraken, with the, actually it might be Kumba. It doesn't matter. I'll take inspiration from it because I'm stealing from other parks anyway. It's happening whether we like it or not. So with the diagonal supports going on in here because it felt like we needed to do some kind of space saving supports in this area, right? So that's what we're doing. Anyway, comes into the first drop. I don't think it's any more than like 56-60 degrees. It's not particularly steep. B&Ms wouldn't have been steep in that aspect, but it does have that trademark first turn here, so it rolls off the lift hill into a, in real life it's a trim brake, but in the game I've used it as a block brake, and then into the really tight but slightly banked first turn, and then into the first drop, into the classic 1-2 of a vertical loop and 0G roll, of course. But I have profiled this 0G roll mainly on Hairraiser than all of the others. So all of the others, the 0G rolls are really drawn out. I don't think they actually hit more than 35 degrees up, and they are really, really stretched out. But this one I've sort of like made it a little bit tighter because we needed to squeeze it in. And guys, yes, that's what she said. Let's just get that out of the way with. So anyway, filth. And then we come into the Cobra roll. They ride absolutely perfectly from game. So there's the vertical loop and the Cobra roll here. They are the in-game ones. They're good enough, right? And then we're going to come into this piece here. This is very much inspired between Wildfire and I think it's Kraken that does it. Just with that like slightly banked airtime moment, weird turn that they do. Now the reason for that is because I needed to put the Immelman in here, right? And I wanted it to be away from the path, and I wanted this track to come down this way underneath the Woody. And in order to do that, I needed to have this long drawn-out curve. But actually, it turns out that on Kraken, it's a pretty decent airtime moment if you watch the POVs. So, yes. And then we come into the Immelman. So this one's profiled on Wildfires. I know that B&M early days would typically go into a dive loop, which is the reverse of the Immelman. But I've decided to put the Wildfire in, and that's because I needed it to be of a certain height when it hits this path here. So guys, I've chosen to do that. Please respect that. But anyway, Immelman for the win. Then it comes underneath the Woody, and it interacts quite nicely with this one. Really close clearance, but it's fine. It's good enough. And then up into a mid-course brake run. Because of course it needs a mid-course brake run. Then it comes down into this one, and then we start taking aim at Kumba because we've got the double corkscrews. So we do the one corkscrew here, and then it comes into a turn, and then does a slightly tighter corkscrew, which actually you don't notice on Kumba that they are different sizes, but they are different sizes. However, this one's a bit more pronounced, so let's just go with that, right? And then we come into a turnaround turn with a drop, final drop. Now this is just to expend as much of the the inertia and as much of the speed from the train as you possibly can before you then bring it into the final brake run and then the final turnaround and then into the station brake. So maintenance area will be situated here, and I think I'm going to end up putting the pathway or the road for it down this way. I'm taking a bit of inspiration from DollyWood and the access path for Mystery Mine, and that's all behind the buildings and stuff. So I think I'm going to do that here. I don't have any other way of getting it. I mean, I could do a Gardaland on Raptor where they actually remove the queue fences and that becomes the access to the maintenance shed, but I don't think that would work here. So we're just going to go. We're going to go with it there, right? So we've now connected it up to the boardwalk area here. I'm happy with this. Just need to put some stairs in here, ramp in here, a bit of scenery and foliage and stuff just to bring the area to life. We do have a supporting ride, but I don't think I'm doing that this episode because we need to put the family launch coaster in this area here, and I need to kind of know what the layout of that's going to be for the queue line and stuff for this for this ride, so it's fine. And then we've got a couple of supporting shops. So of course we can have photos down here. We've got a gift shop here. We've got some food and just grab and go stuff here. We've got some Jajo toilets coming on in here, and then we're going to have a bit more of an established food unit with a seating area and stuff out in this area as well. So that's how the whole thing is going to be set up. I don't know how this is going to be come together. I think I'm going to continue some of the boardwalk theming down here, but it will have an identity of its own. So I'm just going to shut up and get on with it, right? And that's the only way to find out. See you in a minute. Oh yes, you guys, you know the drill by now. It's the middle part of the episode and so much has changed. I can't wait to show you around because this one really is coming together quite nicely. And I know I say that every week, but this one really is. But first, this is your 5-week warning. If you do want the TMTK free park project, then 2,000 of you need to subscribe in the next 5 weeks. Otherwise, the park project is going to be the Drayton Manor inspired one that we were supposed to be doing instead of this one instead. So it is a tall ask, but it's not impossible. Christmas is coming, lots of people are going to be watching, so you know the drill. And this is what we got going on. This is the bit that I really can't wait to show you because this came out of nowhere. I just sort of like did it, right? I just wanted this area to sort of feel like it was on the lakeside. It's been developed. Of course it needs a lot of touching up, like there's a lot of jank going on. This is just all a lot of placeholder things, but I wanted it to feel a little bit like Universal Studios is next to the Cobra Roll on Hulk, whereas obviously this is an Immelman and it's not Universal Studios, but you get the drift, right? I wanted to make a feature of this Immelman, and so what I've done is I've put in a brick version of Cosmic Cow. So we're going to have like an awesome bit of a picnic area and seating area along here. Just putting a couple of extra flower beds and stuff, and then of course we've got ourselves a random ride that's come out of nowhere. Like, hello. But this now shores up this whole shoreline. Oh well, I guess that's what that whole intent of that phrase is. So yeah, this shores up this whole part, and I quite like it. I am now starting to question this boat ride, by the way, because I've kind of like got into a position where I now have nowhere to put the station, so I might just make it a circular boat ride instead. It still definitely needs to happen, but hey, whatever. So custom supports on this one are pretty much done. This is what I was going for with the sharing the same concrete base. I haven't put the concrete bases in yet. You can see like there's the placeholder for one there. I haven't put them in yet, but this is what I was going for with the sharing of the concrete bases. This is perfectly acceptable. This is exactly what some B&Ms do out there, so I'm good with it. We've got a chain lift, chain return here as well, so that's a thing that's happening. And then we've also got just custom supports along here, and then I have also put in the custom supports along the loop and along the 0G and along the Cobra Roll. So I like how this is turning out. I've touched up this area as well, by the way. Of course, it's going to need fencing and it needs its pathing reprofiling. That's why I've got this bit in here. So of course the path is not going to run directly underneath this Cobra Roll, but the supports going in have made it a thing. And I've quite liked this one because this creates a bit of a challenge with this support. It was like, how's this going to fit into the Woody? And here we are. I've managed it just about. Look at that. It's pretty tight, and yes, that's what she said, but we like it tight. So oh man, descending into chaos. This one here was a bit of a challenge. I had to look into how we would deal with this, and this kind of works. There is a precedent out there for this whole boardwalk thing to be put around this support pillar. You just have to support the underneath a little bit differently, but we're not focusing on the supports for the pathing, right? So this does work in principle, and I've just reprofiled this bit as well. Originally the pathway was coming along here, but actually it didn't work with this bend, particularly as I needed the supports to be in a very particular place. So this is the best you're going to get with those supports. And then coming back into the whole main area, this is where the main bulk of the change has happened. So we are continuing this boardwalk theme, this boardwalk area that we've got going on. This is where we are focusing our attention. So the other buildings I've put roofs and stuff on because then they don't have interiors. They're just like grab and go units. Whereas here I wanted to leave this one open so I can show you what's going on inside. We're going for lots of colour, we're going for a bit modern, and we're going for a support of the coaster that we've got in terms of the colour scheme. So it is the blues, the oranges, and colours that complement it. So this is what we're going for in here. It's a bit more of a restaurant-y type vibe. Needs a bit more touching up, of course. You know the drill by now, right? It needs like menus as well. It's got the menus, but it needs like touching up and bins and stuff putting in and extra details and stuff on the windows and all of the sorts. Yeah, you know what I mean. And then we're going to come this way because we are very inspired by Carowinds on this one. Carowinds, I think it's Carowinds off the top of my head, and it's just like one of the food units they've got. It's this very yellow pale wood building that they've got with the white trim. Absolutely love it because it's just like a stark contrast of everything else that we've got going on, but it gives that really nice boardwalk feel to it, but not like the boardwalk extreme that we've got up the stairs. So it's a way of transitioning the area into that boardwalk feeling. I'm going for a really different building shape here, by the way. I wanted to like mix it up with the building because I do very boxy builds, right? And that's kind of real life. Yeah, they are just big squares, but I wanted to go for something different in this, and this is why this is here. This bit here, by the way, was a complete accident. Originally it came off like over up here, and this sort of like happened, and I don't hate it, so I've just sort of decided to keep it as it is. And then we've got ourselves a bit of a beach barbecue going on here. It is a bit of a rehash of one that I did in Colwell Wonderland. I just wanted to sort of like use that design again just to bring it to life a little bit. And then this one, I wanted to have something that was, I did have gifts and stuff here. I wanted something different. I didn't want to put that configuration in. I wanted this to be one line of building because it felt like it needed to block the stuff that's on the background. So that's what we're doing here. That's what I've gone for. And I've made it a bit more of like a beach house kind of vibe going to it. So that'll do. It is what it is. Behind here, I have decided to remove the extra bit of queue that we had that came down here. It was way overkill, so I've ended up just bringing the queue into a cattle pen and back up here for the mine train coaster. So that's been reconfigured. I need to do rock work and stuff in here. That's why it's still looking a bit jank, but you get that. You get that by now. And then we come to the station. So this has to be the 90s-ish station we have ever done. It's just lots of that trellis work, very typical of the 90s style coaster. In fact, it actually screams a little bit of Goliath at Six Flags. It's got that like curve to it. It's all supported by big thick metal trusses. It's a bit of a stage, you know, it's the same stuff that they use on stages. This was completely intentional. I definitely wanted to use the blue and white again because it felt like that was consistent with the rest of the area, particularly in the boardwalk area. So I wanted to use that. And then inside the station, we're just putting out some of the TMTK stuff. So you've got all the bits down here for baggage. It just needs to do the extra bits, spots on the floor and all of that sort of stuff. You know, you're used to that by now. But that's how the station is looking from here. And then we come to the ride photos. So ride photos, pretty standard stuff. It's your typical building. I've tried to make it complement the main station building in shape and size and stuff and colours, so that's kind of what we're going for here. And then the fence design, by the way, this is very much inspired by Superman. I love those fences and the idea of the brick and the don't die fencing. Like, I wanted to do something different for the fencing in this area because we do use this idea of open don't die fencing quite a lot, and I wanted just to have something slightly different. That and the fact we've got quite a bit of terrain change going on here, right, and don't die fencing being staggered just doesn't really look that good, so I wanted to have something different where I could actually make it a bit of a flat line, flat curve. Is that a thing? Flat curve. Yeah. And then of course I'm starting to use the pebble because over here I'm using the dirt mulch. And here I'm using pebble because it's the idea of a transitioning area, so you would use materials and stuff common to each area, so that's what we're going for here. And I wanted to have this area not open, I wanted to have this as an island area, and that's purely because you might need to have some kind of blockage of people walking under the lift hill and stuff, so you expose the people to the lift hill as little as possible, and that's what we're doing here. So there's one here and there's one here. You wouldn't necessarily fence it off, but you just don't want people congregating underneath it where possible, so you limit the exposure they have to it. So that's what we're doing there. Yes, love it. So this is how the area is looking like from down here. Then we're going to come to our final bit of here, the cha-cha toilets. 1 second, let me just get my camera right. There we go. So yeah, it's done inside here. Hello. Oh, I need to sort that clipping out. I don't even know why that's a different colour. Well, let's sort that out anyway. I'm going for a slightly different configuration in here. In the sense that my doors are normally in the middle here, but this time I put the doors either side this way and then put a wall up in here. I just wanted to have something different. I just wanted it to feel like it was something different, you know. And then over here, I've just started to put the pathway up to the boardwalk area. So we've got the stairs with the railings and stuff, and then we've just got the ramp on here. So I just need to put all of the stuff along the side here, tidy all of this up, and then we are good to go. And then the queue line. So the last thing to show you in this update, it's all this cattle pen-ness going on. And then, of course, we've got the mud, which is going to support some foliage and stuff along here. Need to do some rock work along this bit to make it a bit of a bank. Possibly put a waterfall or something in just to make it a bit of a feature. And then just put the path cover and stuff in here. So this is how this whole thing is looking from the top. And guys, this is coming together so nicely, particularly when you look at it from this kind of view. Ah, yes. I can't wait to see it finished. I wonder how it turns out. Well, I guess we can go ahead and answer that question, because it looks like, well, this. And I'm not going to break away from tradition. All of the cliches are about to come out because foliage just made it come to life, and it's exactly as I planned, but it also turned out better than I thought it was going to. Blah, 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 blah. You get the drill by now. Oh, and also done Fennel stamp and a few tweaks that need to be done, etc. But guys, oh my god, it looks so good on the sightline. Look at it. Yes. I mean, it's exactly as I wanted it to be. And the supports, like custom supporting this thing, actually made it worth the effort. I mean, as you walk along the lakeside along here, these are the sorts of views that you're going to get of the coaster. It's just the perfect 90s archetype coaster that sits on the side of a lake. Oh, guys, I love it. Right, I'm going to show you around in a moment, but apologies, we do have some admin to do first because you guys have been waiting so patiently for this, so we need to get this out of the way with. So we head over to... I'm sorry, COVID really messed up the schedule. So we head over to the spinner for this one because we have a name! Yes, we have a name. So Tornado Chaser, I'm not surprised this one at all, but Coaster Lover 24, this one is yours. Thank you so much for your submission. You won the vote. Then we're going to come for this next one over to the dive coaster because we also have a name. It's Raven. This one's yours. So this is Downforce. Thank you for your submission. You also won the vote on that one. And then we're going to head up here with the game tanking. There we go. And we're going to come up to the Vekoma Looper. Oh, the camera just gets so tricky when you just got a big park. It's ridiculous. Anyway, Wilderview Wildfire. So this one goes out to Two Toppers. Thank you so much for your submission. You win that one. And then we turn around and we head back this way because I think I'm going to say this right, but I keep butchering this. I think it's the Nadrus, Nadrus. Anyway, Woodland Racers, that was your submission. Thank you so much. You also won that vote. Right, so heading back over to the B&M because this is how it's looking from the park, right? So this is the park in its entirety from the back, and there's the B&M sitting so amazing on the sightline. So we're going to go the other way. I'm going to start over at the station for this one, and then we'll come back round this way and start talking about this because the station is just so archetype 90s. I didn't want it to be any more or any less than this. Like, it's just Goliath station, really, isn't it? Let's be honest, but it's just exactly as I wanted it to be. It's simple, it's elegant. It's not themed, it's just really loose. And do you know what? You would have had some really, really, really good views out here. Like, playing between the devil and the deep blue sea, really. But you've got some trees in the way. So, these trees would have grown up over the last 30 years or so. So it's going to be obscuring the stuff that's coming. But, hey, it's fine. So then we head over to the toilets as we just get a little bit more stuttering. So toilets, the block has come together quite nicely. I realised inside here, by the way, I don't know if I'm going to get in because the camera is really, really tricky. There we go. I've noticed that this is like really small. You're definitely not going to get down there. But hey, it's okay. It's toilets from the outside. Whatever. But I like how the building has turned out. This whole building sitting on the sight line. It's the perfect colour for what I wanted it to be here. And then we also have the restaurant here, Bun Zilla. So I'm happy with this. This turned out all right in the end. The posters and stuff made this come to life quite happily. Got a nice little seating area outside the front. And then when we walk in through here, of course, you've got all of the stuff in here for you to order. And then I've just done a bit of touching up in here. Nothing too heavy. I've not put videos in here, by the way, because I'm still getting the crash. And the park takes about 30 minutes to load. And I just don't have time to mess around with it just yet whilst I'm doing an episode. So I'll sort it before it goes on the workshop, but whatever. So just had some detailing in here, put a couple of games and stuff in the front end of the unit, and then just some seating and stuff down this way. And then you've got a feature wall. So this is actually a lighthouse wall that's sitting on the back here, but it gives like a strobe effect. Nothing like wasting the poly count in a in a park that's already struggling. It's fine. Then we come across the plaza this way, and we've got the barbecue, the beach barbecue, sitting there perfectly as I wanted it to. And now you've got like some really nice sight lines of the mine train coaster in the background, and you've got the thingy swing, what it's called, hammer swing ride over that way, and then there's the station. And then as you walk back through this way, there you get the views of the Woody and our new coaster. And then this is the other unit that I put in. I toyed with changing the colours, but I thought, actually, do you know what? It's perfectly mismatched. I quite like how this has turned out. So yeah, we're going to keep it. We're going to keep it as it is. And guys, this is the walkway up, right? I'm in two minds. I like it and I don't like it. What's wrong with it? If there's one time that you are allowed to tear me apart, it's now. What's wrong with this? It just doesn't feel right. And no, it's not path covers. It doesn't need a path cover here. But something, it feels bland. It feels empty. It doesn't feel right. Yeah, that's one of my... I need to come back and touch it up anyway. So, maintenance area, by the way, is all done. Taken after, by the way, Apollo's chariot, Busch Gardens. In the sense it's on the side of a hill, so this is okay. And then inside we have done some touching up and some detailing or whatever. I didn't show this to you in the last update. It was all ready and stuff, but it wasn't ready at the same time. Nothing too intense in here, I like to keep it nice and simple. And the track just tells you that it's a maintenance area and whatever. I have done a second floor, by the way. There is a floor below here, but I've not kitted it out because I've needed to clip through trees and stuff. So if you do go back and have a look, then you'll notice that there's trees and whatever sticking through. But yeah, this is the plaza area from the top. Oh, it's just so, it's perfect. I love it. And then it transitions nicely into the boardwalk area here, right? So of course we're going to have the family launch coaster, which, by the way, family launch coaster next week. Names in the comments, please. So yeah, that's going to come in here. And then it just transitions nicely into the boardwalk area up this way. So I'm loving it, loving it, loving it. So then we're going to come round to this bit. I'm just going to show you this bit here because I've not finished this bit, and this is because this is going to be the entrance to the finale coaster that we're going to do. And this project is a big project. Like, if you can imagine just an infinite amount of effort and doubling that, you will just know what the effort is going into here. I mean, there's the path for it, so give it away. Spoiler alert! But anyway, sorry, I digress. So, yeah, I just wanted to show you this because this is my thought process behind the reprofiling of this area. So we've got some fences and stuff up in here. Started to put the new flowers in here. I've put some extra supports in. I was missing a couple of supports, so they are now in. This is now a perfectly acceptable walkway, but there are no fences here, and that's deliberate because this area needs a reprofile. But what's not needing a reprofile is this area here. I toyed with putting in a water feature, a water effect here. I may still put it in a la Hulk at Universal, but for now this is looking good. I like how this is sitting. But this, yes, I love it. Like, I got to use with this pieces that I don't normally use as well. I don't use often, you know, like the haunted house roof and the pillar topping here. Oh yes, but this is the Cosmic Cow unit that we've got. So it's open on 3 sides, so 6 units in total. I wanted this to be a big old unit, but look at the size of the coaster behind it. Yes, and then even better when you're sitting at the lakeside. Oh, that's the wrong arrow key. When you're sitting at the lakeside, look at the view you get of the park. Like, there's a suspended coaster. There's the hyper in the background. Then you've got the wing right in front of you. Through the trees, you've then got the drop towers, and then just all the rest of the profile, the woody and all sorts going on. And depending on where you sit, then you can also expose like the dive coaster and the invert and the mine train and all sorts. So this is going to be an absolutely incredible place to sit. And it also sits quite nicely on the lake here, right? So I was a little bit in 2 minds about this being a little bit narrow. And we have lost quite a bit of the lake, right? Because the shoreline originally came around here, so we've lost a lot of water. But actually, I'm liking how this is now. This feels pretty much right. And actually, do you know what? In the future, if the park wanted to, they could put a bridge in here, and they would be able to do that quite easily, and then join this path that goes up towards the top of the hill and join this together. So it's, you know, they could do that in the future. And then coming to the plane ride, I haven't done anything with this yet because it has no name or blah 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 blah. I've just kitted out the queue line as you'd expect it to, and then just put some flowers and stuff to separate it from the path. And I wanted to make it feel like this bit here might have been the original entrance, right? And for some weird reason, weird logic, they've decided that they are going to extend the queue line down to this bit. And maybe that's because on busy days you could actually put false fencing, you know, Harris fencing and stuff in here and use this area for queues and whatever. So yeah, you know, it's fine. It's fine, it works. So I think that's everything that I need to show you. I'm just going to take you down to the sightline once again. Like here, look. Guys, yes. I've only got 2 coasters to go back into the park now as well, by the way. Yeah, 2 coasters. Let's just call it 2, shall we? So I can't wait. But guys, thank you so much for getting to the end of this video. As I said, if you do want to have the Theme Makers Toolkit free park, then we need to get to 10,000 subscribers in 5 weeks. So let's get a pedal to the metal with that one. But yeah, if you like the video, please do. If you leave a comment, please do. Names for the launch coaster. I'll stop waffling. We're going to go for a ride. Have a good week. See you next week. Look after yourselves. Bye-bye.